Hello, my name is Keith Brunell and I'm here today to demonstrate and share 3 recipes plus a bonus one featuring seafood from Alaska. I will be featuring Alaskan Pacific cod and show the versatility of the product, whether it be fried, baked, broiled, or pan-seared, using traditional flavor elements of Mexico with a small, unique, and relevant twist. Before I begin to cook, I wanted to talk about some of the other species that I love to cook with from Alaska. The first species is the halibut. This is basically your prime fish of the Pacific. And when I look at this is like your Wagyu steak or your prime beef. The next fish I wanted to talk about was our pollock. Pollock is such an unbelievable species. It really is the workhorse of the Pacific and the most prolific fish found in the waters of Alaska. The next fish I want to talk about is just your salmon. Whether it is a sockeye salmon, a king salmon, a coho salmon, a chum, it doesn't matter. Salmon is a very nice protein that lends itself well to all different types of preparation. And then next up is our opilio crab. There are 2 types of snow crab that can be found in Alaska. One is the opilio and the other one is the beard eye. They're both wonderful products, and I just love to eat this simple with a little bit of butter and lemon. And then last but not least is what we're gonna be talking about today, which is cod. Cod is a great fish. It's one of the leanest, most dense proteins that you can work with. And I'm gonna show you today the flexibility of how cod can be used in many different preparations for you to cook at home or for you to use in your restaurant. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make crispy Baja tacos. What I did is I made some homemade tortillas here. So we have a little bit of organic masa from Oaxaca. And this is nothing more than push it flat here, turn it one time here, push it flat again, peel the plastic off, and then what I'm going to do here is just put it onto the comal for a second. The next thing that we're going to do while that's browning is we're going to take our cod and put it into our flour that has a little bit of salt and pepper. So what we're going to do for this dish is we're going to take 6 pieces of the cod that are about 1.5 to 2 ounces each. Just lightly toss it in the flour, in the seasoning. And what we want to do is just make sure we get a good coat. Okay? So then what we're going to do here is we're just going to set that there. And then you can see our tortillas cooking. So I'm just going to come over here real quick and just show you that. That's it. Flip that over real quick. After we've taken the flour out here, is what I'm going to do is just set this here. I've already made all the tortillas ahead of time, so we won't need to do this, but I'm just going to take this now, set the tortilla there. We're looking to be about 350 degrees to fry fish. And we're just a touch hot here. So what I'm going to do is just give it a second to just cool down for a second. We want to be extremely careful here when we go to fry the fish. So we want to put it into the bear batter. We want to be very careful as we take it out. There's one. And the bear batter is very simple. It's nothing more than flour, baking powder, beer, some Sonoran Southwest spices, malt vinegar, a little bit of salt and pepper, and last but not least, water. And you want this to cook for about 3.5 minutes, because that's what's going to give you a perfect, creamy, moist inside piece of fish. And again, what you want to do is make sure that as much of the batter as possible is dripped off. It's important to get your batter really cold, because what happens with cold batter is it makes the skin very delicate and crispy as you fry. And as you can see here, we're getting that beautiful little fry action going on. Beautiful little golden brown color. And all I want to do is just flip it one time, right there. Just make sure that we get it evenly brown on the other side. So there we go. And the slaw is very easy. So what we have here is we have our shredded cabbage, green. We have our red cabbage here. Put it all, looks great. We have our little julienne carrots here. We have our green onions here. We have some dill sprigs here that I just want to break up real quick. And then what we have next is we have our chipotle remoulade. So we want to take about 2 tablespoons of the chipotle remoulade and put it in there. We want to add a little bit of salt to the slaw right there. And then what we want to do is add a little bit of olive oil, about a tablespoon. And then what we want to do is do the juice of 1 lime to give it that extra little bit of acidity and flavor. And then what we're going to do is just mix it with our hands really well and kind of get it set up for the landing. And then what I'm going to do next is just gently remove these from the fryer. And wow, those are beautiful. Nice and crisp skin. Next up, what we're going to do is start building our 2 entrees. So, you know, just what I love about Alaska seafood is the versatility of the product, that you can use it in so many different ways. Like we're showing you right here. It could be baked, it could be fried, it could be seared. So what we're going to do now here is just kind of finish out our 2 entrees. So these are nice and warm. These have just come off the griddle. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this one up to go. Oh my goodness, warm. Okay. So we have those 3 there. And then I'm going to take the other 3 tortillas and just literally lay it flat onto our plate here. I like to put the slaw on the bottom because I want the fish to be the hero. So you're going to see that I'm going to drop the slaw in the bottom of the tortilla shell. Got the slaw and got the slaw. So that little bit of creaminess, the brightness, the acidity for this wonderful fish. And then what I'm going to do is just literally take these beautiful pieces of cod and set them right in there. This is going to get the extra remoulade sauce. As you can see, I have this on a banana leaf. And then what I'm going to do is take some of the bread and butter pickles with turmeric that I've done and just kind of lay them right on top of the fish to give you that little brightness and acidity and that fresh feel and look. Because who doesn't love a pickle with fried fish? So these are crispy Baja cod tacos. There's no better way to enjoy wild Alaskan cod fried than with a preparation like this. Next up, we have another cod preparation to show the versatility and a little bit more healthy twist on Alaskan wild cod. Today we're gonna make a Yucatan cod tostadita. So what we have here is we have 1.5 to 2 ounce pieces of our cod. And then this is what we're calling a miso ancho chili glaze. It's nothing more than miso, ancho chili, brown sugar, soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, and just a little bit of salt and pepper. And all we want to do here is just literally marinate this and get this ready to be able to saute. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to fry our tostada shell. I just want to show you that you can either buy these at the store, or we could take them and put them right in the oil and then literally just put your pan on top like that. The reason why I like making fresh homemade tostadas is the fact that you get that really wonderful corn flavor, and then that oil is just nice and kind of refreshing as you go to try it. And then what you want to do is finish it over on the pan. And then let's get to the star of the show. So what we have here is our cod, as I said earlier. And you know, while we're waiting for the pan to get hot, I think the important thing to remember is when you think about wild Alaskan seafood and you think about the bounty of different species and the fact that they're all wild, they're all sustainable, and all of the techniques they use are environmentally friendly to make sure that the people who are fishing, the people who are harvesting, the people who are manufacturing the product are well taken care of. So with that being said, what I want to do now is just get a little bit of oil in the pan. As you can see, the pan is getting nice and hot. And I want to show you a technique that I use a lot. So we have the ancho chili marinade here. I'm just going to put a little salt, little marinade, a little pepper, and the pan's hot. So what I'm gonna do here, you can hear it sizzle. I'm just gonna put the fish down, and I don't wanna agitate it too much. I just wanna get it in there, get it around, separate it. You don't wanna crowd the pan too much. So what you're gonna see is, I'm gonna let the pan do the work. I'm gonna get color on one side and allow for the fish to cook all the way through by putting the top on there. The next thing that I want to talk about, and you'll have the recipe in your available, is this is what's called escabeche. Escabeche is nothing more than a jardinere. It's pickled vegetables that you'll find in Mexico in a lot of popular taquerias, and you also see it in the United States. I do a little bit more of an Italian twist with all the Mexican flavors. So cauliflower, carrots, bell peppers, fennel, celery, a little bit of pepperoncini and capers and olives to really bring that flavor together. And then what I do is I just take a little bit of vinegar and water and spices, bring it to a boil, drop the vegetables in and turn it off, and just allow for that to steep. The next thing that we're going to use for the dish is what we're going to call our sesame aioli. Sesame is a very popular ingredient in Mexico that's used in a lot of mole sauces. So this is our sesame aioli that's nothing more than, again, sesame oil, miso, garlic. This one has a little bit of lemon in there, and salt and pepper. So as you can see here, we're getting a little bit of color on our fish. I'm just gonna take the top, put the top on there, and allow that steam to finish the cod. There's a lot of ways that you can prepare cod. You can prepare it in a lot of the ways that you see it been done with wild salmon. Is you could take this marinade, soak a wood block, and just throw it right on the grill and allow those smoky flavors to kind of permeate into the top of the dish. The last piece of this dish that we're going to do while the cod is finishing is what we call a avocado smash. It's nothing more than avocados, ripe, salt, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of olive oil, and then the squeeze of a fresh lemon there, and just mash it up. And again, we want some of the texture. We don't want to make it really fine, but what we want to do is make sure that we can spread it a little bit. So there we go. And now we're going to come back to our fish, and you can see the little bit of albumin in the fish is coming out, so we know that the fish is perfectly cooked. So we don't want to overcook the fish. We want to make sure we keep that moisture in there and that integrity. And I'm just going to turn off the pan. So what we have is we have our warm tostada. We're going to take literally about a tablespoon and a half of what we call the avocado smash, making sure that we go coast to coast all the way to the ends. And then what we do to cheat a little bit is we're going to take a little bit of the sesame aioli, because we don't want it to slide, and we put that there so that it won't slide. Next, what we're going to do is very gently take our fish here and put two nice pieces on there. What we want to do is we want to really showcase that. And yes, this almost feels like a miso glazed cod. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our little bit of escabeche, again, to get a little bit of pickled vegetable flavor on there. Again, how do we supplement those wonderful flavors of the cod? Next up, we're going to take a little bit of arugula. Arugula is nice and peppery, and just kind of build that little bit of arugula salad over the top. Again, we don't want too much because we really want to showcase the cod here. And then last but not least, we want to take our sesame aioli, kind of drizzle it a little bit over the top. And then last but not least, we're going to take a little bit of our sesame seeds. Just put a little bit more sesame seeds on top. So that's the individual portion of the cod tostadita. And you could use sockeye salmon here. You could use pollock here. All those types of species would work well with this type of dish. I hope you enjoy. The last dish that I'm going to prepare today using Alaskan seafood is a miso and ancho chili glazed cod chowder. So we're going to use these traditional flavors of Mexico using the ancho chili and those wonderful flavors, and pair it with a slightly creamy potato and chorizo chowder that's a little bit more Portuguese, but very reminiscent of flavors that you see in Latin America. We're gonna start by taking our miso ancho chili glaze and just kind of really, you know, take these 2 4-ounce pieces of bias cut cod, and we're gonna actually put this onto the alderwood plank. I felt it would be good to give a different preparation because I love to grill outside, and I think the most important thing is if I'm outside grilling, I'm just gonna take this cod. I don't wanna even put it on directly on the coals. I'm gonna put it on the wood and let that do the trick. Because I'm just gonna take this and put it under the broiler for about 5 to 6 minutes. This is the fun part here, is I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna slide this just a little bit, is a little bit of olive oil. This is just a little bit of chorizo here. Again, I made this homemade using our Sonora Southwest spices from Nordstrom. And then I'm gonna add in our onions here. So you see I have some nice spring onions. I'll bring one here. It's springtime, so you see these wonderful spring onions that are now available, so we definitely want to take advantage of the spring onions. So I got the little white pieces, and I'll put a little bit of the green pieces in there too. And I'm just gonna let that cook and sweat a little bit, just to get the smokiness of that chorizo going. Is I'm gonna add in the potatoes. And these potatoes have just been blanched or steamed for about 8 to 10 minutes, or they could be roasted. So again, I'm just gonna build flavors in here. So you see the potatoes cooking, you got the chorizo, you got the onions. And then we're gonna add a little bit of really kind of nice smoky poblano peppers in here to really get that little bit of that Mexican feel and flair to it. And then I roasted a little bit of red and yellow peppers to bring some of that sweetness out as well. So I'm gonna add a little bit of the red and yellow peppers into there. And we're just gonna let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. And like with any dish that we do, is we're gonna season as we go. So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt there. I'm gonna just a little bit of pepper because we have the spiciness on the fish. And I'm gonna let that cook. And once I see that all the ingredients have been warmed up a little bit, now is where we're gonna make the chowder come to life. So I'm just gonna add in some heavy cream in there and kind of let all those flavors kind of cook down and cook together. We're almost there. We got the potatoes. We got the peppers. We got the cream. What I'm gonna do now is just kind of turn that off. And I'm gonna take a handful of green olives and just throw the green olives in there. And then what I'm gonna do is just take the fish that was done here and just lay it right onto the top. Again, 2 4-ounce bias cut cod pieces. And you could just see how wonderful that looks. I'm just gonna take some fresh oregano to get those oils and that smell kind of coming off the top of the dish. And that is the miso ancho glazed cod, chowder style. And then I said I had a secret dish for you. The secret dish is everything that we really worked on today. So taking a piece of lettuce here, taking a piece of the cod, taking a little bit of the giardiniera, taking a pickle, but really the idea here is just to really build your own fiesta. I can't get a higher quality product than this. And when you bring those two things together and you're able to share this type of food with your friends or family, it doesn't get better than that.